Thanks for tuning in. This short video includes details about the Big Field Fund grant and application process. I'm Lydia Deemer, the Artist Resource Director at Public Space One in Iowa City, which is the administrator of the Big Field Fund program, with funding provided by the Warhol Foundation for the Visual Arts. Along with Laura Moser, PS1's Community Stewardship Director, we're Team BFF at PS1. To start, I'd like to share a little bit about the two entities who are in partnership to make the Big Field Fund possible. The Andy Warhol Foundation for the Visual Arts is a New York-based organization funded by an endowment created from Warhol's assets, as well as through revenue generated from a licensing and sales program. They support artists through a variety of methods, including their regional regranting program. The Big Field Fund is one of 39 regional regranting programs across the country. These local arts organizations administer annual grant programs that have core values in common with the other regional regranting programs, but also can adapt over time to reflect the needs of the local community. These are some of the Warhol Foundation's values. Visual art and artists are at the center of our work. We believe in the intrinsic value of experimental artistic practice. We actively seek to highlight the work of underrepresented practitioners and support efforts to address entrenched inequities. We value risk-taking. We stand behind work that is challenging in nature and encourage others to do the same. As I mentioned, Public Space One was invited by the Warhol Foundation to develop and run this regional regranting program in Iowa. Public Space One hosts exhibitions, performances, and screenings by local, regional, and national artists, affordable and free arts workshops for adults, and collaborative projects that encourage multidisciplinary creative development, all sited within 3 historic houses that we operate as dynamic and accessible spaces for and cared for by our community. We support artists and a robust arts community through residencies, sales, teaching, and exhibition opportunities, community access print and media art studios, and we advocate for the importance of art in everyday life for any and everyone. You can find out more about our other programs and resources on our website and Instagram. PS1's role in BFF is to facilitate the outreach and application process and the cohort experience, and Laura and I are the folks working on this. As an annual program, we're excited about the impact that the Big Field Fund can have over time. It will award $60,000 in grants annually, and our overall vision for the program is to offer direct and essential support for artists and collectives, to take risks and make new, inventive, experimental work, and also to support artists in both the development and exploratory and production stages of projects, and to foster a connective visual arts ecosystem, especially for under-resourced or vulnerable individuals, communities, and structures. Big Field Fund seeks proposals that fulfill one or more of the following focus areas. This list encapsulates the aims of the Big Field Fund, and I would encourage you to revisit this as you apply. It's available on the website with each grant overview, and you will be asked to align your proposal with one or more of these focus areas as you complete your application. They include projects that manifest new and inventive models to present, nurture, or deploy visual arts in Iowa, projects that support under-resourced artists and creative communities, projects that engage with vulnerable or underutilized resources, structures, systems, or ecologies, and projects that would likely not otherwise be eligible for financial support due to their multidisciplinary, ephemeral, or risk-taking nature. These focus areas range from finding new ways to share visual arts in Iowa to celebrating the ephemeral, the present. Please use this spectrum to inform your Big Field Fund vision. The Big Field Fund seeks to expand the regional artistic field, locate new spaces to assemble, generate innovative research, and platform disparate and often overlooked voices. So what might that look like or attempt to be? All Big Field Fund grant proposals must be grounded in the visual arts. This is an expansive idea of visual arts practice, from the tangibly ocular or visible to experiential. It includes, but is not limited to, painting, drawing, sculpture, social practice, performance art, film and video, photography, textiles, ceramics, cross-disciplinary practices, public art, etc. Some of these forms may be very familiar, others less so. The etc. implies there are ideas or projects out there that might be harder to pin down or fully list here. If your work or project idea emphasizes something that isn't listed and you think it might be a form of visual art, ask tonight or share a short description via email, and Laura and I will get back to you. It's also important to note that Big Field Fund is seeking proposals that include the intention to be accessible and viewable in a free and public manner. This is not funding solely for time in a studio to create new work. The public version of this could take the form of exhibitions, performances, installations, interventions, digital platforms, broadcasts, workshops, spectacles, screenings, and publications. Now that you have a broad sense of the aims of the Big Field Fund, let's talk eligibility specifics. Applicants must be at least 18 years old. They need to reside and plan to produce the project within the 35 counties proximate to Iowa City and in the state of Iowa. They also need to have an active artistic practice and demonstrate recent work. And they need to have the ability to complete the work proposed within 1 year of the grant award. Here is the geographic scope of Big Field Fund, the 35 counties surrounding Iowa City within the state of Iowa. Lead artists must reside in this region. Collaborators may live elsewhere. Applicants may not be a nonprofit or incorporated business. They also can't be enrolled in a full-time degree granting program. PS1 staff and board members are also not eligible to be lead applicants, and they may not benefit financially from a Big Field Fund grant. Lastly, applicants may not be a Big Field Fund project grantee who has been awarded a grant in the last 2 years. Research development grantees are eligible to apply for a project grant the following year. Project grantees must wait 2 years after completing their project to apply again. This is just another reminder that part of Big Field Fund eligibility is that all grant proposals must be grounded in the visual arts. The Big Field Fund has 2 grant types. Let's take a look at project grants. Project grants award $8,000 to support the public realization of connective, collaborative, and/or experimental artist-led projects. Project grant proposals must initiate new work and go beyond an individual studio practice. Remember that intention to make the project public and accessible. Applicants can incorporate all of the activities and formats we've already listed. Some of them include exhibitions, all the way to digital platforms, spectacles, and publications. But again, they must also be firmly rooted in the visual arts. Big Field Fund Research Development Grants award $3,000 to support artists in the early stages of an ambitious project. Research development proposals must support progress towards a future publicly realized project in the visual arts. Your proposal must incorporate activities that expand your ability to pursue this future project. This might be learning a new technical skill, building relationships with potential collaborators, or research through reading. Again, if you're seeking a research development grant, your proposed plans should still be rooted in the visual arts with an eventual public-facing intention. In addition to the financial award to support your work, Big Field Fund will support grantees with a public award celebration, a grantee cohort gathering, a studio visit and consultation with an artist, curator, or specialist in the field, and promotion of their projects via the Big Field Fund's communication channels. Now let's look more closely at the timeline and application process. The Big Field Fund application process occurs in 2 rounds. The first round of applications will be reviewed for eligibility by Big Field Fund staff. All eligible first-round applicants will be invited to submit a second-round application, which provides more detail on the proposed project. Think of the first round like a strong first draft. If you're eligible, you'll be able to build on it as you develop your second-round application. Right now, first-round applications are open until August 1st. They close at the end of that day at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. Big Field Fund applications must be made via the Big Field Fund submittable website. If you don't already have an account, you'll need to create a free submittable account to log in to the application website. A few ways to access the Big Field Fund submittable portal are included here. On the Big Field Fund website, look for the Apply button or the hyperlinked text on the splash page. You can even do a Google search for Big Field Fund and submittable, and you'll find a result that leads to the Sign Up, Sign In page. The Big Field Fund entry point on submittable looks like this, or sometimes like this. Now, I'm going to share a series of screenshots with you so that we can talk through the first round application. I would also encourage you to take a look at the Big Field Fund website. We've posted a PDF of screenshots and a copy of the application text with each grant type. Examining this will help you prepare your responses and gather materials. Remember, you can save drafts with submittable at any point in the process. If you are having difficulty with the process, please reach out. Submittable has technical help. There's even a link on the page as you work through the submission in the lower left-hand corner, or contact us with questions. Also, check your spam folder. Sometimes submittable notifications go there. They also have instructions in the technical support to safe list notifications from submittable. Here are the 6 initial eligibility questions. After completing this, eligible applicants will be directed to the next step. At this point, you'll be asked to fill out some basic personal information. This includes the applicant name, preferred pronouns, email, address, and some optional info like website or social media handles. Then you'll select your grant type. First, let's look at the project grant. For project grants, you'll write a 300-word summary and share an approximate budget. The summary can be written as your own narrative, or you can look at the following questions and answer them one by one. We ask that you briefly describe your proposed project, touching on the following points. What are you planning to do? Who will be involved in creating and experiencing the project? Where and when will the project take place? How does the project align with at least one of the goals of the Big Field Fund? And also, please note that projects should take place largely during the calendar year of the grant cycle. If you're applying for a research development grant, you'll also share a project summary of up to 300 words and an approximate budget. Again, we list the questions in the instructions, so please briefly describe your proposed research development activities, touching on the following points. What is the project idea you would like to research develop? What are the steps you intend to take to advance your research and to initially develop your project idea? And again, how does this research development work align with at least one of the goals of the Big Field Fund? Finally, even research development will need to be completed within a year after the grant is awarded. Next, all applicants will share support documents. You'll need to select and complete one of the following. Please share the support document that best represents your relevant prior experience. To apply for a Big Field Fund grant, the applicant must have an active artistic practice and be able to demonstrate recent work. Additionally, the applicant must have the ability to complete proposed work within 1 year of the award. Your first option is a resume. Upload a 1 to 2 page resume highlighting previous experience and work in the visual arts. Or choose the artist bio, which is up to 300 words. Your artist bio may be written in the first or third person and should briefly describe the approaches and interests of your creative practice. and any key milestones or accomplishments in your artistic career. You need not include all details, but should give us an idea of how, when, and where you have practiced as an artist. Finally, you could choose a work sample. Please upload 3 to 5 files that best represent your previous work and its relationship to your proposed project. There are many file types. This could include JPEGs, short videos, and audio files, as well as text-based PDFs or documents. Last steps for the first round applications include the demographic information. You'll also need to agree to the terms of use for Submittable, and then submit. If you haven't completed your application, Submittable will not even allow you to submit, so look back and see if there's something incomplete in your application. What if I made a mistake? I've already submitted, and I know that something's wrong with my application. In Submittable, you can review your completed submissions. If you submit your application and realize there was an error, you can request an edit. Please do so before July 31st at 3 p.m. This would be the last point staff could help you out with opening your application in the first round. Now let's take a look at some important dates in the second round. By August 15th, all first-round applicants will be notified. For accepted applicants, you will receive a notification, and the second-round application will open on Submittable. By October 1st, those second-round applications close, again at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. The second round of applications will be reviewed by the Big Field Fund jury. By November 15th, all second-round applicants will be notified. This year, we'll be awarding 6 applications for the project grant, and 4 applications will be selected for a research development grant. The Big Field Fund jury is composed of 2 national artists and/or curators, and 2 from Iowa. When possible, one of the jurors is also a former Big Field Fund grant recipient. Every year, the panel of jurors changes. Here are 2 different rotations from 2025 and 2026. This year's panel consists of Akwi Nji, Alex Braidwood, Ariana Weir-Tomashuk, and Fidencio Fifield Perez. To give you a sense of what the second round application will include, let's go over a few details. In the second round, you'll share a project description that includes the context and impetus, the who, what, when, where, and how, as well as any unknowns with your project. You'll also share a much more detailed project budget. Support documents can also be uploaded, and these could include things like sketches, plans, related work samples, but also potential sites and venue agreements, as well as community engagement and partnership agreements. Lead artists will also have the chance to identify project collaborators and describe the nature of the collaboration. For more detailed information, please refer to the Big Field Fund website. The second round materials and another video info session will be available later this summer. We want artists to have the best chance of success, whether or not they have prior experience writing grants. So we provide several avenues of support for second-round applications. Quick questions can be asked via email. We also set up 20-minute virtual meetings, which are really great to talk through an idea or a series of questions, or to receive technical assistance with the application process. We also offer written feedback on drafts. Feedback will be focused on clarity of writing and alignment with Big Field Fund goals. More information about this second round option will be available soon. If you are awarded a grant, here are a few key dates for the calendar year of your primary grant activity. This might help you plan as you're making your proposal. December 1st, grantee contracts are due. And then in December, we also have an award celebration and funds are distributed. In February through April, a grantee cohort group check-in occurs. May through August, studio visits and grantee individual check-ins with BFF staff happen. And then at the end of the grant cycle, all of your proposed grant activities will be complete and final reports are due December 1st. On our website, you can find other resources to help you with your application process. These include the Creative Capital Artist Lab, which is a free online curriculum. You can also take a look at other regional regranting programs. Although these programs have slightly different grant guidelines, the projects and research can be really helpful to examine. We also provide links to resources that are available on the Big Field Fund website and very specific to the Big Field Fund region, including venues and partners that you might consider working with. You can also take a look at the 21 Big Field Fund grantees and collaborators from the last 2 cycles, again located on the Big Field Fund website. A few very basic but helpful application tips include: first, make sure you're answering each question directly and completely. Second, if you're confused about any aspect of the application, ask us. In the first round, send us an email. Also, refer back to the Big Field Fund priorities. These are listed on the website. They also are at the beginning of this presentation. But those 4 aims are really important, and you need to align with at least one of them. And if you make it to the second round, there are specific rubrics for both the project grants and research development grants that will also be very helpful. You can also take a look at some of our frequently asked questions. Here are a few, but there are others on the website. This second FAQ includes a question about venues. Keep in mind that it's important to consider a publicly facing location that's accessible and free for the public to experience the work you've created. Also, PS1 can't be a venue for any Big Field Fund related projects or research development. We're the administrator of the grant, and we want to see your projects out in the world throughout the Big Field Fund region. And lastly, here's our contact info. You can find us at the Big Field Fund website. You can email us at info@bigfieldfund.org, or you can follow us on Instagram. We're also doing some additional in-person info sessions throughout the Big Field Fund region. And this video that you're watching will be paired with a second round video soon. In the first round, we offer answers through email, but in the second round, you will be able to schedule virtual office hours to ask further in-depth questions. Please reach out with any needs or questions. Thank you again for your attention, and we hope to hear more about your Big Field Fund vision.